So we made a batch of apple juice. Then I made a second batch. This is what we got. This is like a 8-quart pot or something. And I'm going to condense this down now into a syrup. If I condense it down too far, it's difficult to reconstitute. So I've got to get it down to just a syrup that just sticks to the spoon, but still runs off. So I'm going to put the element on medium, and I can just let this boil now for quite a long time before I have to check it. And then once it starts to get down so that it's sticking to the sides, I have to come and stir it every once in a while. See, it's starting to get lower now and it's boiling. So you have some work to do inside so that every once in a while you can come by and give it a stir. But other than that, it just sits there on the stove like that. I just stirred this again. You see the syrup stuck to the side. It's starting to stick to the sides of the pot, and of course it'll be stuck to the pot all around. And as this cools down, it's going to get thicker. If I turn the element off now, so I'm not sure. I think I have to bring it down so that it just starts to form a film on the spoon when I do that. But it's getting late, and like I said, I'm not sure exactly how far I've got to put it. So I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to let it cool down, and then if it's not thick enough for my liking, I'll turn the burner back on again and evaporate it down some more. It's cooled down, still running. It's actually still drinkable like that. It's not too sweet. So I've got the stove turned back on now. I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and when it starts to boil, I'll stand there and almost constantly stir it until it gets as thick as I want it to. You see, now at this point, when I bring the spoon back and forth over the bottom like that, I can feel the syrup constantly settling to the bottom. And if I have it on medium, if I don't constantly stir it, that syrup will burn right on. How long it takes me to get something done is not a good metric to go by. I was here, it was 9:30, and I'm having hypertension issues. I couldn't put up with it any longer. I had to go lay down. 2 hours later, so I mean I had to turn this off. I couldn't just leave this on and go lay down and wait for the tension to go away. It was 2 hours before I got back again. So now I have the burner turned up on max because it's almost to where I want it. It had cooled down a bit, of course, over the 2 hours, and when I picked it up like this and I poured it off, you could see the film staying over the spoon. And that's what I want to get it to when it's hot. Let's wipe this spoon off so that there's nothing on it. See, there's no film starting on that yet. But I've got it up to a fast boil because, like I say, now I'm wanting to get this done, and I'll just stand here and keep stirring it so that it can't stick on. Now it's sticking on. Yeah, see? I'll turn that burner off. Let that stop boiling. And while that is going to stop boiling, I am going to get a 1 liter bottle. 1 liter canning bottle. And it's up to you how you sterilize your canning bottles, because, well, what you're comfortable with, right? Some people will actually boil the bottles. Some people will put them in the oven. I have my water heater up on, it's 131 degrees Fahrenheit. So if I run straight hot water, that's, well, you're not going to hold your hand under it. And I just wash it with that. The other thing, of course, to put really hot liquid into a cool bottle always makes me nervous. So I have to heat up the bottle before I pour in that hot liquid. Take this. Now, it was about 7 liters we had in here. Now I've got a little bit left in there that I can use, and make sure the room is clean and that your lid that you're using is good. Put that on tight and that should seal. This, I don't want to leave it in the pot though, because that'll stick right onto the pot. And so, let's get a little bowl. I think it'll fit in this little bowl. Now, let's see if I can move this so that you can see how it's all collecting on the side here. See that? So that's the state I boiled it down to. I'm going to take this bowl and I'm going to put it in the fridge to speed up the cool down, and we'll be back when this cools down. Okay, so it's almost room temperature and it's still liquid. So I'm going to try to sweeten coffee with that in the morning. What I have here, remember, to get the film noticeable, I had to just move the spoon back and forth, and then when I picked it up, it had all those bubbles stuck on it. A couple of years ago, actually, this one was made, and I could just dip the spoon down in and pull it up like that, and there was a thick film left on the spoon. And when it cooled to room temperature, that's what you got. So this is just boiled down apple juice. It's just as good as the day I put it in there. It's been sitting in the pantry at room temperature for 2 years. It's very tasty. I add some on my potato pancakes, and I like it. Good for crackers, toast, whatever you want to spread jelly on. This one now, that's sealed, and I'll be able to put that back on the shelf. I'll probably put it in the cold room, but I would say that could sit on the pantry shelf room temperature as well. I decided that I was going to make some jelly as well and show you this all the way down to the jelly stage. So I made another batch and I boiled it down. I have some put over there in a couple of bottles. This I'm going to boil it down further now and make jelly out of it. I'm going to have to stand there and keep stirring this now. I've got the thing almost up on high. I'm just going to keep it boiling just to do it faster. Now you could put this in a slow cooker and just let it slowly evaporate down. But to do it faster, you can bring it to a boil, and like I said, you'll have to just stand there and keep stirring it so it doesn't burn off. My gimbal don't have any power, so I got you on there. Hopefully I don't bump you and make the camera move. Let's see. You see how the film holds up on the spoon? It doesn't just flow off. There's a film that hangs on as I tip it out the liquid. Even though this is up pretty much boiling. So I'm going to put it in this bottle here now. And turn the burner off. That one I want to seal. I think I'll put the rest of it in another bottle. It's hard to tell on the camera how much of a film is left all over that pot now. I'll take you off of here and see if I can do it handheld. There. Now you can see how the film was all stuck all over the pot. And that's the way it was sticking onto the spoon. Of course, it's cooling down fairly fast now. And I don't have it down to a science. I'm expecting it to go right to jelly at this point. So it didn't gel up. See, this is what I put in the fridge even. And I'm going to be stubborn and say yes, it's going to be gelled at some point. You see how thick it is. I'll use my other hand to pour the other one. So that was fridge temperature, like 3 degrees Celsius, right? When I done the other ones, if I remember correctly, I did put it from the big pot into a smaller pot. I just don't remember how thick it was when I had it boiling there. So let's just the center part, turn that on medium and get this up to a boil. Now it's sticking on. But you can see what it's doing, and you know what? Instead of putting it back in the bottle and risking it, I am going to just move this back. Let it cool down, and if it doesn't gel up, we'll have to do a little bit more. If it does gel up, then I'll put it in the bottle and probably water bath can it or something like that. Water bath canning would be a good idea. This is something that you would use a slow cooker for, actually, like I said before, and in the future. That's what I'll be doing, but for the purposes of how this is made, I think this is the best way to go about showing it. It's very thick, but it still didn't go to gel, so I'm gonna heat it up again. Oops. Now we've got it. Apple jelly. I'm going to put that in the bottle. I'll be back in just a minute. Now, see, if I had this down to a science, I wouldn't have had to do this. I could have just poured it into the bottle in this liquid state and let it solidify in the bottle. But I want to seal this now, so I have to warm this up again, get it to a liquid state. And the best way I know to do that, see, I've got water, just cold water put in here. I'll turn the burner on and I'll get that up to a boil. And then I'll be able to put the top back on and let it seal. And it'll keep forever. I have the lid put on there lightly now. Just to keep, well, I don't really want any more moisture coming out anyway. And to get this to warm up faster inside the bottle. Get that to melt now, would you? I put 2 spoons in the bottom there so that the bottle is not resting right on the bottom. But that'll seal now anyway. Put that on tight like that. Now, as far as the syrup goes, so we've got condensed apple juice there. Just the same as if you're going to make lemonade from the concentrated lemon juice. Beautiful tasting. And of course you'd mix it to whatever strength you wanted it, right? Personal preference thing. So I did try sweetening the coffee with this. It worked. At this level now, I had to put in like 10 tablespoons of this syrup to sweeten the coffee. But there is an acid in apple juice, and I didn't like the taste. Now, that's a matter of personal preference, of course. Because of the acidity of apple juice, you can't mix milk with it. I tried to mix milk with the coffee, and that made it even worse because the acidity immediately made the milk curdle up. So it's a matter of opinion what you're going to use this with. You can still use it with the bread and that, I would assume, and muffins and that kind of thing. But I don't like it with coffee. Thank you for watching.